will direct the NDC minority to sit at their right place, which is the left of Mr. Speaker. That was the understanding I had. I subsequently had a call from the Peace Council. The Peace Council informed me that they had engaged Mr. Speaker on the issue before Parliament, and Mr. Speaker had indeed indicated to the Peace Council that he had not ruled, neither has he proclaimed the NDC minority, and that should we resume or should Parliament reconvene, the NDC minority will go back to their seats. Several other prominent Ghanaians, who for some good reasons I would not want to mention their names, who had engaged Speaker on this matter, had also reached out to us, the majority caucus, and assured us that Mr. Speaker's engagement with them resulted in he admitting that indeed there was no such ruling, which ruling would now proclaim the NDC as a so-called new majority. Now, from the horse's own mouth, granted that all these prominent people misrepresented to us, the majority, yesterday, Mr. Speaker himself, in his press conference in the afternoon, enumerated a number of things. Amongst them, he said he had not made a ruling. He told the whole of the country that he had not made a ruling. So, if he claims that what he did was a formal communication in response to a statement from the minority leader, then why is he supervising chaos in the House? What Mr. Speaker did today amount to supervising chaos and bringing the image of democracy to disrepute.
Yes.
The NDC minority members were all over claiming that we, the majority, did not attend a so-called business committee meeting that they called. Who are they? When did we constitute a new committee in Parliament? I chaired the business committee of Parliament, and when the clerk to Parliament asked for the business committee meeting, I was very explicit that the subject matter of the recall, which was approved by Mr. Speaker, is a very matter for consideration. So there's no need to have another business committee. Business committee is to decide on the business of the House. On this occasion, you have made an application, which application has been granted, and the items that were approved were the very things to be decided on. So I directed that the order paper should be printed to reflect all those items. Fortunately, Mr. Speaker himself read the two letters, the first one and the second one that amended the first, and indicated to the whole country that indeed our deputy majority whip, the second deputy majority whip, had actually sent those letters to him. He acknowledged him as such. Clearly, the NDC is on a warpath. They want confusion in this country. They want lawlessness in this country. And all these are being supervised by Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
It is sad. It is very sad. And I would want to entreat you, the media, to call them out, to call the NDC out, to call Mr. Speaker out. Because what is it? What at all is the issue? You have made a ruling which you now say is an opinion. We disagreed with you. We've gone to another forum where, by law, that forum has the power to interpret the law. We respected Mr. Speaker's ruling. In all of these, my first interview after his ruling was to the fact that I respect him, I disagree with him, therefore my colleagues and I were withdrawing from the chamber and will pursue the matter at the Supreme Court, which matter he was already aware was pending at the Supreme Court. And I will repeat the point I made a week ago. Mr. Speaker had assured me in the presence of the second deputy speaker, Honorable Amwakwesiama, in his office that in view of the pendency of the suit, although the NDC had filed that petition, which petition was mounted by Harun Idrisu, he would hear them but will wait and abide the decision of the court. I was fair enough, I was transparent enough to have engaged him as a head of this assembly, that because Haruna had raised the issue and to avoid confusion, I was going to the Supreme Court to seek interpretation. I did not go to Supreme Court in bad faith, and it wasn't the case that a matter was happening in Parliament and I ran away to the Supreme Court. I ran away from Parliament to Supreme Court to seek refuge. No, I foresaw confusion. And indeed, what Harun Idrisu filed, why did they set it aside? Harun Idrisu had initiated a process under Order 99 of our rules, which will require a process to be set in motion. Why did they suddenly come under Order 93, which allows for a statement, when in the history of this Parliament since 1992 did a statement metamorphose into a motion, which motion now will require a ruling? You see, Speaker is setting the country on fire. Yesterday, we were disappointed with his non-reconciliatory posture during this press conference. Indeed, we, the majority caucus, call on Mr. Speaker one more time to demonstrate statesmanship. We want Mr. Speaker to know that although we were not happy on the day he was elected, some of our colleagues perhaps has seen something good in him. It wasn't the NDC that put him there for him to do the bidding of the NDC. Perhaps people felt that he could be someone who will bring all of us together.
Yes.
There are things that we cannot say into the camera, but Mr. Speaker is hurting democracy.
Yes.
What Mr. Speaker is doing is to rehearse what the NDC is likely to do should they lose power, to bring chaos, to cause confusion. How can Mr. Speaker say that he respects the Constitution but he will not subject himself to the dictate of the judiciary? How can you say that the judiciary is in collusion, is colliding with the president, and you mention the president as a person, as an individual? How? What Mr. Speaker is doing is in bad faith. First of all, he subjected himself to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. And after losing at the Supreme Court, he turns around to attack the Supreme Court. His own lawyer, my respected senior Thaddeus Sori, in court, argued forcefully that Mr. Speaker made a ruling, and he sought to justify the so-called ruling and even challenge the jurisdiction of the court in entertaining my application. For him, the matter comes under Article 99 of the Constitution and not under Article 197, 97 G and H of the Constitution. To the NDC lawyer, to the Speaker's lawyer, who had received firm instructions from the Speaker, the position of the Speaker was home and dry, was on all fours right, and that Mr. Speaker had ruled, and that those members could not come to Parliament. Again, he had emphasized that the right forum was the High Court.
Yes.
All these points canvassed by Mr. Speaker's lawyer were overruled. The matter was heard in the full glare of the public. There was a live broadcast of the Supreme Court proceedings of that day. The ruling of the Supreme Court has been procured by me as plaintiff. The Supreme Court bailiff has served the ruling, the second ruling, on Mr. Speaker. His lawyers were given up to 3rd of November to file their written submissions statements of case in defense, if any. So what are all these, perhaps I call it ex-cathedra statement of speaker, creating an impression as though those statements he's making are an authority on their own. It cannot be. A true Democrat will respect the rule of law.
Yes.
And that is why we decided to respect him. You know, ladies and gentlemen of the press, NPP, our tradition is to respect rule of law.
Yes.
It's out of deference to Mr. Speaker. That is why we did not enter the chamber. That we should share in that chaos theater with them. Never.
Never.
We will not. MPP will not. We will not. Therefore, don't be swayed by their lies and their propaganda. The chaos they started is what they want to end. We will not allow that. We believe that we have to win the elections right at the polling station and would go and work. Right now, what the NDC has done, basically, are the following. One, they don't want Ghanaians to receive their pay, public servants, because they know that after the elections, there will be no budget. And to be able to pay Ghanaian workers, there will be the need for parliamentary approval of the budget first quarter. That will be on account, appropriation on account. That's it's a constitutional requirement. So that is what they want. They want to stampede it. Two, they want to again create a certain impression that Ghana is lawless. Ghana is not lawless. We will not allow them to give a wrong impression to the international community. We will respect the law. Three, all these businessmen, you know, their fear is that under the 1D, 1F, these companies are going to create jobs. These companies will employ people. So their fear is that should these be addressed, it will mean that all their propaganda of unemployment would fall flat. So further to frustrate businessmen and drive them away. Are these Democrats?
No.
Now there are important things to do. We have the free SHS bill, which is before Parliament. Their main aim is to conspire with Mr. Speaker to prevent the free SHS bill from being passed.
Into law.
And in an unlikely situation where they see the light of day in the election, cancel it. That, oh, after all, there's no law backing it. Their main target is the free SHS bill. That is why there was a pre-announcement of its laying in Parliament, and you remember how they fought against it. So it's an opportunity for them to, as it were, prevent the free SHS bill from being passed. And if they succeed in doing that, to them, in their wishful minds, in their wishful thinking, parents will get upset and then say that after all, the free SHS was not working. The free SHS has benefited many Ghanaians, in spite of the challenges. We know as a country, the reforms that have been made by two ministers, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Dr. Yao Educhum. These two gentlemen who were assigned to superintend over the education ministry have done so well. And the outcome of their works is known to all Ghanaians.
In the world.
This is what the NDC want to set back. Thank you very much indeed. I would want... Now, they also made some noise in the chamber. They also made, you know, they double talk. They double talk. They do double speaking, double talking. Whenever a person lies, he fails to even be inconsistent. In the chamber, where they rushed to go and sit, and again, the clerk this morning, we pre-inspected the chamber. The clerk diligently arranged our name tags at where they were. They came and they physically removed them. And this is where, with the greatest respect and in all humility and in all modesty, my dear friends in the media, help us to shape opinion in the right way. Get the message across. They came in there and unlawfully removed our name tags, pulled their chairs to our place and sat on our seats. And Speaker, the cameras I was watching in my office, and I'm sure you guys are set up. You set your cameras up proud to Mr. Speaker's arrival. You saw what happened. Let the Ghanaian people know. Now they said our members were not present. They claim that those, if indeed the Supreme Court had ruled, why were those members who were affected not in the chamber? Because Mr. Speaker has said nothing about them. This is what Kwame Agboja, making that point. Honorable Kwame Agboja said the members have had a favorable ruling from the Supreme Court, so they should have come. Really, if the Supreme Court ruling is being respected by them, why did they move to the right of Mr. Speaker? My respected colleague Cynthia Morrison is here. I said it in my plaint in court that she remains a member of our caucus, and she's here with us as a majority caucus. Nothing short of that. So I would want you to take note. Now, we look forward to engaging Mr. Speaker in the next few hours and days. We pray that he does the needful. If he doesn't do the needful, we will continue to rely on the law to get the right things done. The partisan politics that they are festing on us in the chamber must cease, must end. Parliament is a chamber for decent people. Parliament is a chamber for tolerant Democrats. Parliament is a chamber for people who want nation building without taking advantage of situations to score cheap political points. We will yield to these high values and high tenets of democracy. Thank you very much.
No question. Okay, we'll allow some few questions. Okay.
Yes. Who is going to do the tree for us?
There are those who have said that by the conduct of Mr. Speaker, he has gone against the ruling of the Supreme Court, and by his refusal of failure to actually ask the NDC to go back to the Constitution side, he might be in contempt. Is that the view you share? Yes. And lastly, there are those who said that if he's in contempt, that would mean that he has breached his oath of office, and you may even initiate a process to impeach him.
Well, let's engage him. Let's engage him. Get him to appreciate. Let's get him to appreciate the consequences of not obeying the Supreme Court decision, and let us also pray that civil society and Ghanaians in general will prevail upon the NDC lawless minority to know that decency is the rule of the game. Thank you very much. She is a member of parliament. Listen. Wait. You see, wait. I will not in any way attack any media house, but I believe that the discourse is a two-way traffic. For instance, I won't mention that station's name, but a station invited me, and when I went for a program, after we had agreed on the issues, they now said to me that a big man from that station says that they should address me as leader of MPP caucus. And I asked that a Speaker of Parliament has made a pronouncement. Granted, at the first instance, he was right. A superior court has overruled him. So the status quo has been restored. Further, the Speaker has challenged the first decision of the court. All right? And that has been adjudicated upon. And it has been determined. Yes. So 2 rulings have come out after his ruling, which he calls an opinion. Is there an issue of who is in majority and minority? You, the media, I want to ask you. So I would plead with you, no matter how you feel, let us all help with the law. We all know in the US, in the US, I'm referring the media to something that happened in the US. We all know that CNN leans towards the Democrats. Yeah. If you watch CNN carefully, you will know that CNN leans towards the Democrats and Fox leans towards the Republicans. But as soon as Trump was elected, CNN put all their biases aside and went straight. In fact, they were among the first news, let me finish, to have projected Trump's victory in spite of all their disagreement with Trump's views or political views. You get my point? And I would want to urge on you, the media, to do same. You may not be in support of MPP. I agree. Yenina ya dream to me ya baako. Yenina media yen to me ka say media bi antro dia eye MPP for there. But se court kasa. Me pe situation a media be trust say eye Afenyo Markins, leader of MPP group. Afenyo Markins ni MPP for eye majority. And that is the law. Mumbua Speaker of Fuma Munka. Yes, we are Fuma Munka. Na Ghana baku pena ewo. Their NDC for ni ya no person Ghana ejetomo. Their speaker di kan ye no. Speaker, their speaker di kan ye no. Ye yankun to kwa o. Oka di oka ye no. Ye ndidi na tem. Ye ka chen say speaker. Wo de waka. Ye di court. Na court ebia asem no. Court edi kan ebia asem no. Speaker si on ti ase of a lawyer. Emma lawyer no call court. Eko kasama onu speaker said there be the Supreme Court ka no wafo Supreme Court afom. Supreme Court e di asem no. Ghana nyina hwe TV. Ena Supreme Court aka said there be speaker. Enye wo tumi na obetumi aka say obi seat we declare vacant. Eyenyen nti asem no eda yenim. Asem no so beda ha na wo ya we. Nti eba ne sen ena ese wo be kasasa. Speaker lawyer nankasa ka say speaker ye ruling. Okoso justify speaker asem o kan e. Ema ne ka say Supreme Court kro na ye wo no. Enye wo ne the right forum je say ye kwa high court. Sansema ne lawyer kan ni na court den ebogu ye. Nti dia na ye expect an pay ni say speaker eni NDC for no beka saka chom say there be baby amote na ye ho na mote. E ho no ye edom kase and PP4 sir Afenyo Markins ye omo majority leader omo ekonwa but speaker wan yes sir obetra ho no oyese we hu baby ankrofo ne te ba ni nyina ni se oni omo nyina no omo ya baako omo nyina NDC ansa na NDC for be bibi no no ankasa oni no oni omo ni na adwen ho nti omo nim de omo ye wo be hwe endra press conference oye no press conference oye no wan kasa se ope enkabom ana akroye or attack o mampeni or attack judiciary Supreme Court ekeka nsem bebria yen esan se ye bunu bi nti no yamba respondo say ya tie de oka ye tie but yen MPP for embra na ye di suniti yamba ka se ntia no na ye expect say nde or the court assembly ye djuma and then po de obi ano ani lawyer akọ court no wan ka court wan asem kra wan ka se wa go court ama we din kuguo ani nti no and then you anu nyina wa the ayebese yakane say yen yebedi mbraso yen tumrika eni ni omu nkoko ntokwa NDC for the omu bibia yen ntokwa omu bibia yen ntokwa omu bibia ni ntokwa so mudi enyoma bese wo Ghana na Ghana aya basabasa ye de ya dwen omanu ya ma bibi sense ya da mo ase
answer Charlie, your answer. Wait. Hey,
of course, I'm still a member of Parliament, the ticket of MPP. Thank you.
You're a member of majority.
Okay, thank you. With that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. The content, no. Yeah. No, the content will come, and the impeachment will come after the content. Who impeachment? That one.
That's why I joined the Senate. I'll say
but we have said it.
Yes.
Yes. That will make sure that he follows due process.
Colleagues, I think an important point. Patrick has raised an important point. Yes. Yes. We will continue to compel the speaker to follow due process. We recall Parliament. He has come to illegally against Parliament Synod without engaging us, knowing that there was chaos. There was chaos in the chamber, and he knew that the right thing to do was to engage us and to get the NDC to sit on his left. He refused to do that. So we would compel Parliament to sit and for the right government business to be transacted. We are going to do it. We will not allow the speaker to have his way. He is not a member of Parliament. The speaker is not a member of Parliament. He presides over Parliament. We, the members of Parliament, determine the business of Parliament. So we'll recall Parliament again. I'm saying that we'll recall Parliament. We'll recall Parliament. We'll recall Parliament.
This Parliament expires on the 6th of January 2025. So we have time.
Let's have a proof of
Always come.
Anketi. We are the new
patriotic party. We are the new patriotic party. The elephant are we the symbol. We shall win to save Ghana. The elephant are we the symbol. We shall win to save Ghana. We shall win to save Ghana. We shall win to save Ghana. The elephant are we the symbol. We shall win to save Ghana.
Indicating that the Speaker of Parliament will be first of all cited for contempt.